Is North Alabama's housing market cooling off or about to heat up with the big Space Command announcement? In today's video, we'll break down the latest numbers from August 2025 to see where the market really stands. Then we'll zoom in on Athens, Morgan County, and also Huntsville to give you the local picture. Whether you're buying, selling, or just watching the market, this update will keep you in the know, so let's jump in. Across the Valley MLS region, single-family homes tell an interesting story. New listings in August came in just under 1,500, which is basically unchanged from the same time last year. Pending sales ticked up by about 4.5%, and closed sales rose slightly as well, showing that demand is still steady in the Huntsville, Alabama market. The median sales price was relatively flat year over year, from just under $310 last year to about $309 this year. While that's not a dramatic shift, the pace of the market certainly is. Homes are now sitting on the market for an average of 56 days compared to just 40 days last August, which is a nearly 40% increase in time to sell. The townhouse and condo market is also showing an even more dramatic shift. New listings were down by more than 20% as many builders are exiting the townhome market, and pending sales dropped by a similar amount, and closed sales declined by about really the same amount, about 18%. Prices in the segment are also under pressure, with the median sales price falling by over 14% compared to last year. And perhaps most telling is that condos and townhomes are taking more than 80% longer to sell than they did just a year ago. And I can speak to that personally. I've invested in a few townhomes over the last couple of years, and I ended up selling one because it was just taking too long to rent. And then ultimately it took a little bit longer to sell than I had wanted it to, priced it super competitively, and still didn't get the price that I would have wanted to just a couple years ago. Inventory is building in the single family segment, rising by almost 12%, which means more homes are available and months of supply has crept higher as well. By contrast, condos and townhomes are seeing fewer listings overall, so inventory is tighter, but that hasn't translated into faster sales. Affordability is still a concern across both segments, and buyers are securing homes at slightly less than list price compared to last year. And the Housing Affordability Index also has slipped in August, showing that rising borrowing costs continue to weigh on many households, but expect to see that trend change here in September as interest rates have already started to drop and affordability has increased across the Tennessee Valley. In Huntsville and Madison County, the market is essentially flat compared to last year, with sales and prices holding steady. The median price edged up slightly to $330,000 from $326,000 last year, while the number of homes sold was pretty much identical, 642 versus 644 last year. Inventory was also slightly higher, 2699 versus 2655 last year. The real shift is in the pace. It took 37 days to sell last year and now takes about 52. That's really mirroring the rest of the market, about a 2-week increase in the pace at which homes are taking to sell. In Athens, homes are taking about 15 days longer to sell than they did a year ago, which is really in line with the overall market. That slowdown pace comes alongside a dip in sales, about 197 homes sold in August compared to 223 last year. The median price has also dropped slightly as well, from $330 down to $325. Inventory is up, giving buyers more options, and that means buyers are gaining negotiating power, while sellers really must be sharper on pricing and marketing to attract the right offers in this market. In Morgan County, sales also slowed, just 125 homes sold in August compared to 151 last year. Interestingly, the median price held steady at around $260,000. So while fewer homes are selling, prices really aren't retreating in a meaningful way in the Morgan County market. Inventory jumped to nearly 600 homes on the market, and the average days to sell stretched from 40 to 54, so an additional 2 weeks. Buyers here have more choices and more time, but sellers are really realizing it just takes longer to get a deal done, with prices staying relatively flat. So what's driving all these trends? Well, the most striking change across the board is how much longer homes are staying on the market. More inventory really means more buyers have more choices to choose from, which naturally leads to longer decision-making cycles. Mortgage rates also continue to weigh down on urgency, although that is starting to change here in September. Higher borrowing costs, and buyers are just more cautious before jumping in due to the higher cost. And the weakness in condos and townhouses are really starting to pull down the overall averages, since that segment has slowed down the most. Pricing pressures are really mixed. Single family homes are essentially flat. It's a sign that the market has found a balance between supply and demand. And condos and townhomes, though, are down sharply in price. it's reflecting softer demand as well. The increase in inventory and months of supply in the single family market means the market is shifting closer to that balanced market, which is that 4 to 6 month window. And sellers no longer hold all the power, and buyers now have more breathing room in negotiations. Affordability is also the other key factor. Even with stable home prices, higher interest rates and borrowing costs are making it harder for first-time buyers to enter the market. Expect to see that change as interest rates have started to come down in September. And that really explains why homes have been taking longer to sell, and while sellers are seeing offers come in below list price more often than they did last year. For buyers, this is really welcome news. You now have more homes to choose from, more leverage to negotiate, and more time to make decisions. So if you've been waiting out that fast-paced seller's market of a few years ago, conditions may finally be tipping in your favor. For sellers, the story is different. Strategic pricing is absolutely critical, and high quality marketing makes all the difference. Who you hire matters. Homes that are staged well, photographed well, and priced correctly are still selling, but those that miss a mark risk sitting on the market for weeks longer than expected or just not selling at all. Sellers need to adjust expectations from the quick sales that we saw over a few years ago. Overall, August 2025 shows a market that's largely flat in sales and pricing, but clearly slower in terms of pace. Days on market are stretching longer across nearly every segment, which signals a shift towards balance. And for buyers, this means opportunity. For sellers, it means adapting your strategy to win attention in really a much more competitive environment. But there's also a wild card coming, which is Space Command. With thousands of jobs projected to move into Huntsville with Space Command and the FBI as well, today's flat market could quickly flip back to double-digit appreciation as these jobs begin to hit over the next few years. That demand shift really could tighten supply and put sellers back in the driver's seat. Timing, as always, will be everything, as many savvy buyers are looking to get ahead of this trend. If you want to understand what this means for your neighborhood, click the link in the notes to request your custom market report. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this update so more North Alabama homeowners can stay informed.